Good job, team.
Work here. What good is killing me?
I'm sorry. I thought I was working for Dr. Young. I had no idea Joker was involved until he burst in the lab.
Where is the lab?
Back over there. I always get buzzed through. There's a hidden door, but, well, you know, it's hidden.
I'll find it. Stay here.
I'm Batman. Find any door I want.
Probably Poison Ivy. Yep.
Interview, Pamela Lillian Isley, November 14th, 10:21 a.m. Hello, Pamela. Today I'd like to go back to something you said in our last conversation.
Ask for anything you like.
You said your first offer to help Gotham was rejected. How can you possibly believe that?
What do you mean?
You released thousands of poisonous spores into Gotham, killed hundreds of people. How does that help anybody?
I'm not interested in violence, Doctor. However, let me say.
What do you call someone who has failed to solve 3/4 of my riddles? A Batman?
I have to say, these interview tapes, we might do a mini-sode where we do all of them. But I am really unimpressed with the Arkham psychiatrists. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the way that you address somebody who's delusional isn't to just be like, you're delusional!
Yeah.
Like, you let them find out their delusion is a delusion.
And that's part of why we stopped doing them, because they're not adding much to this, unfortunately. Because, well, we're covering they're for people that don't know the characters all that well, and for better or worse, Lil knows it much better than I do, but I do know my Batman lore, and was with some frequency annoyed by it in the game while I was playing it.
Yeah, and I'm very protective of Pamela. I know you are not. I know you are not, Charlie.
No, I'm not.
But I think especially because I had a really interesting conversation with a friend about sort of the difference between Marvel villainesses and DC villainesses, and the Batman Rogues Gallery has a bunch of really interesting women in it, and I've always really, really enjoyed that.
No, that's fair.
From Selena to Pam, to Harley even, and those female ventriloquists.
Sure.
Pamela, I got you what you asked for. Do you like it?
Oh yes, Stephen, I love it. So
Case in point, kind of this unfortunate femme fatale.
Against all the rules.
I feel she comes off as a bit of a one-trick pony at the end of the day. It's horrible that I think that.
She should be. I mean, I think that's a problem that I have is that she, much like actually, because I mean, Paul Dini wrote this game, right?
I don't remember.
I will double check.
I'm definitely the wrong person to ask on that one.
But just to talk about Paul Dini, anyway, I think we've talked about him. He's the sort of creator and main artistic mind behind Batman the Animated Series. And he did something really interesting with Selina Kyle in her first appearance. And we should just talk a little bit about Catwoman. I mean, when Catwoman first appeared, she went by the cat, and Batman didn't know she was a woman until the end of the book. And it was really, really interesting. And sort of in keeping with that, what Paul Dini did was he did this thing with Selina where she was an environmental terrorist, basically. Like, she was really obsessed with keeping cats protected. So she was stealing stuff to finance a reserve for cougars, I think. Something like that. You could have made cougar jokes, is my point.
Fair enough.
But that's the thing, is when these villainesses have actual agendas, or when villains in general have actual agendas that aren't... I mean, Joker can get away with being an agent of chaos.
And he almost has his own agenda, though, too. Like, he's not... His goal is to mess with Batman. It's the same goal every single time, but...
It's attention-seeking behavior. Joker really just wants Batman to hug him.
Yeah.
And throttle him, and hug him again. That's literally what it is.
It's a sex thing.
It's a sex thing. That's what I'm saying.
Well, look who's discovered our secret lab. Since you've made it this far, let me show you what I've cooked up.
Yeah, it's a little disgusting. So I guess in some regards, welcome to my favorite missed opportunity for an enemy in a game. Because it's a really interesting idea to have Batman fight essentially the Hulk. At least I think it is.
Well, because I think that one of the cool things...
And you can do this with them.
Yes, I like having them punch each other.
Yeah.
That's always good. Aw, broke all the things. Because in general, I mean, I love Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, he's really badly written with some frequency, though.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's a little bit of a one-trick pony.
But his work in the whole Darkest Night lead-up, which we'll talk about more in detail when we get to the next game.
Yeah.
Because he's actually in that one.
Solomon is also just, I think, a really interesting device in terms of, like, you know, fight... Because we talked about Bane when we met him.
Yeah.
But when because the thing about Bats is like he's literally maybe the third, you know, the number 3 martial artist in the whole DC universe. I think that's about right. I think it's Shiva and then Dragon and then him.
You've mentioned that before, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that, you know, he's big, yes, but he's Bats, you know, like he's got it.
Yeah.
Size means nothing.
Well, I mean some, but I'm sorry, Superman occasionally gets called in to fight Grundy.
Yes, and I think that's the problem, is that if the size is not an issue so much as actual, what should we call it, durability?
Yeah.
No problem.
Just when you think it can't get any worse.
They've been using a venom plant hybrid to create the Titan strain. The plant's the key. And there's only one person on Arkham Island who can help us.
And what makes you think Poison Ivy will help you?
If her plants are at risk, she'll listen. I have a sample of her pheromone signature on record. She'll be somewhere in the gardens. I'll track her down.
So what upgrade now? Triple Bat-Barang. Why not? I never use them anyway.
Just like...
We've now reached the point in the game where very few of the upgrades, except for a couple small ones, are actually useful to me as a player. And again, I know I've just pissed someone off because they're busy saying, that's the best weapon ever, blah, 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 blah. They're not. You don't need half the weapons this game gives you to be good at the game.
Well, play styles.
Yeah.
It's true though that as there aren't as many fights that are designed to sort of force you to use multiple
No, and that was, and we'll talk about that when we get to the
tools.
second game.
Yeah.
It was a very nice thing about the second game.
Oh, that's a beautiful vista.
It is a nice vista. I tried to grab it before this happened.
Look how big the moon is, you guys, lunatics. Oh dear.
I'm not quite sure why it had to crash in to deliver that, but it was dramatic.
It was a beautiful vista that was ruined by stuff. Aw, yeah.
The line launcher. A favorite weapon in this game. Not weapon, tool.
I was gonna say, I don't know how to use it as a weapon.
I'm not sure you can use it as a weapon, actually. I enjoyed the concept of the line launcher a lot more than bunch of other gear in this game.
It is super bats, though.
Yeah,
it is the most bats.
Maybe that's why I liked it as much as I did, because it is so Batman.
Batman loves rappelling around things. It's one of Batman's favorite things.
It is one of Batman's favorite things.
Also standing on rooftops and thinking about his dead parents.
That too. So we keep cutting ourselves off with stuff happening in the game. We never actually finish a thought.
Well,
Sorry about that.
well,
But
wait,
someone's having that
yeah.
moment.
But let's go back to Big Daddy for 2 seconds and the
Yeah.
Punisher, because I think that's important. Because the thing that makes Batman so quintessential DC is his very rigid moral code.
No guns.
No guns, no killing. Although, again, pre-comics code, bats did tend to drop people off buildings a little bit. So
I think he still does that to a certain extent.
Yes, but he only maims them. It's very important.
Yeah, Batman not dropping people to their death is no Batman I care about.
Well, I mean, because in the Nolan verse, that's a very important moment. Is
Yeah.
he drops Michael Roberts?
I don't remember, but
he's
something like
Carmine Falcone.
It's all right, my darlings. I'm here now, my poor darlings. Yes, I know he's found us, but I won't let him hurt you. I'll kill him first.
Ivy, I know Dr. Young mutated these plants to produce venom.
Yes, and I heard it through the grapevine the evil woman paid the price.
I need you to help me create an antidote.
Why should I? Let Joker have his fun. I'll enjoy watching you squirm.
You've been in the dark too long. Every plant on this island will get the same unless you cooperate.
There's a plant growing deep in Arkham Island. Only it can counter the effects of this Titan strain.
Where do I find it?
Oh, in Killer Croc's lair. You didn't think it would be easy, did you?
Go back to your cell, or I'll be after you next.
And I'll be waiting.
So I know you're dying to talk about Ivy. Let's finish off our thought, though, with quintessential Batman annoyance before we go to that.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we're going to see Waylon. I love Waylon. Waylon Jones.
There's got to be
I love how vaguely southern he is. Oh, that's a lot of dudes.
in the mansion. I'll see if he can shed some light on where Croc's kept.
We're gonna go find Aaron. Yeah. So the thing about DC guys in general, I think. Oh, that was cool.
It is.
I like that he asked if he was okay. That was very empathetic of him as a criminal. Because the thing about the Punisher, like, is that he had a happy life and then it was taken from him because of sort of large amounts of institutional corruption. That's the Punisher's deal, right? Is the cops can't help me and the army can't help me.
He's judge, jury, and executioner, and this is kind of like a weird comment. He's also the only character I know of that's gotten more violent as time has gone on. Like, he started off with mercy rounds that just hurt like hell when you got shot by them, but he's gone from that to just straight up murdering the villains of the Marvel Universe, which it's a weird departure, and I love the franchise for doing it in the dumbest way possible.
It is sort of interesting to think about it, though, because that Big Daddy is definitely a very clear melding of the two of them.
Yeah.
Because he lost his wife, institutional corruption is what made him. Institutional corruption isn't what made Batman. Just, that could have happened. I mean, yes, there was a crime wave, but random crime is, impossible. It's impossible to wipe out. So Batman's worry became less about institutional issues. Because, I mean, he's friends with Commissioner Gordon. Like, Commissioner Gordon and him are the biggest bros in the entire world.
Yeah, he believes in police systems, after all, and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he it's why he can't kill.
Yeah.
which is a very interesting thing. I always think of Batman as a real optimist because he keeps putting them back in the asylum. You know, no matter what.
Yeah.
They keep busting out, and he keeps putting them back in.
Well, that's a comment I think that's made occasionally with Batman is this idea that he is too optimistic or something like that. Like it's
naive. It's very naive, and I think especially the interesting thing about this game and with these interview tapes, it's like these
people
doctors,
are terrible people.
These doctors are not good at their jobs. Like I don't think. In fact, one of my like sort of personal headcanons about Harley Quinn is that, you know, she goes in as, you know, a medical intern, as a psychiatric intern at Arkham. And I imagine her as being a little bit unconventional, like her, and the Joker exploits that. But I think she goes in being very, very clear-eyed and trying to, you know, try something new.
She also believes in change, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. I mean, she couldn't be with the Joker if she didn't.
God damn it.
And I think that's the thing, is that a lot of Arkham doctors, when you meet them in various Gotham comics, are just so, you know, they
beyond
don't,
jaded at this point.
Yeah, they're like, there's no way to fix this. You know, there is no way to fix this. Do they want you to line launch?
Yeah.
Okay.